When I started this channel, one of my main goals was to have a good, honest look at how well Linux stacks up as a platform for self-publishing. Unfortunately, when it comes to content creation, Linux and open source software are judged not just based on their own merits, but by how well they play with the industry standard. As an author, if you plan to collaborate with a proofreader or editor, you can almost guarantee they're going to be using Microsoft Word. For that reason alone, if I'm moving away from Microsoft, I have to maintain compatibility because I've yet to meet a professional editor who does not use Word. So I've decided to conduct an experiment. I have a 60-page short story that I've written as a reader magnet to help build my author newsletter and subscriber list. And my editor has graciously offered to assist me, even though I know this is probably going to be something of a headache for him. So I've just finished self-editing the second draft of my short story, Tunnel Town, in LibreOffice Writer. And so now I'm going to send that off to my proofreader, Timothy Repasky. If you're interested, I'm putting his information down in the description of this video, so if you're looking for an editor, he's a good one. And I know he's looking for new clients right now, and he's very reasonable, super responsive. So I just wanted to put a little plug in for him, particularly since he's helping me conduct this experiment. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've just gotten this document back from Mr. Repasky, and it seems that everything went okay on his end. The only thing he noted was that the file opens in compatibility mode, which I expected because LibreOffice Writer uses an older form of docx. So I'm excited to open this up on my end and see how things look. So we're in here, and straight away I'm noticing that things are zoomed really far in, like one paragraph takes up the whole screen. So I'm not sure if that's a setting he changed, but I'm going to go in here and adjust the zoom to maybe 150. Should be good. That looks good. Now you can see the little gray bar to the left of the first paragraph. That's a change he made. We've got some in-text change here. You can see where the things he changed are deleted with a line through them, and then what he suggested. So my job is to go to the review tab, and I see he's got track changes and record turned on here, so that's good. And then I'm just going to use these buttons: next, previous, accept, reject, accept, move to the next, that sort of thing, to work through those. And then he'll also leave me comments for continuity stuff, and there should be navigation buttons here for previous and next, but there isn't. That's sort of a big omission. See, in Microsoft Word, you would see something like this under the comments section, previous, next. So I can scroll and find the comments, so he did indeed leave some, but this is a 60-page document. I can't imagine having to hunt through, a whole book. So LibreOffice Writer, not including the navigation buttons for the comments, is a really big omission from the graphical user interface, in my opinion. I know there are workarounds. I know I can assign keyboard shortcuts, which ultimately might be faster because, it doesn't require you to move the cursor and click. But I'm coming from Microsoft Word, and I'm really used to having those buttons. So this is a little bit disappointing, a little bit frustrating. It's not the only thing that's been an issue. Another feature that seems to be missing is autosave. So it's really easy to close the lid on your laptop and let the battery go dead, and then you lose work because you didn't save work. When I'm done with a comment, I like to delete it so that I can click the next or the previous button later on and see if I've missed anything, if there's anything that I skipped over to come back to later, what have you. LibreOffice Writer does this really weird thing where when I try to delete a comment, it doesn't actually delete it, it puts an X through it because it's tracking the change. So when you're working in Word and you delete a comment, it's excluded from the track changes. If you delete it, it just deletes and goes away. But in this situation, I have to delete the comment, and then I have to go back through my tracked changes and accept my change, the deleting of the comment. Which just adds an extra seemingly unnecessary step, and I'm not sure why they chose to make it work that way. So I'm going to pause with LibreOffice Writer, and I'm going to jump over into OnlyOffice and see if they handle any of these things better. So straight away, I really like the user interface here in OnlyOffice. It's a lot more modern looking. It's a collaboration tab instead of a review tab. We've got, the same buttons. I'm accepting some of the changes here just to test things out. If you look over to the left side of the screen, you can see that all the comments are listed there in a vertical pane. I'm not sure if there's a way to reorder those. It seems to be they're ordered not necessarily by the order they appear in the document, but by the most recent comment first. There may be a way to adjust that. I noticed there's still not really buttons for navigating comments up at the top. There's an add a comment, delete a comment, or resolve a comment, but no navigation buttons, which is kind of bizarre. Also, OnlyOffice does not seem to have an autosave feature either, so they're both missing that. But at least this one provides a way to navigate the comments, even though it's not with with an ordered button. So I'm gonna have to look into this a little bit more, and we'll just see how it goes. I'm gonna finish this pass in this app, and I'm gonna send it. I'm expecting that there probably won't be any issues. So here's a snippet of the email I sent to Mr. Repasky, just letting him know that I had switched word processors and to let me know if he encountered any weirdness. And, I ended the email by letting him know that I honestly did not expect any. A few days later. So Timothy emails me back for our second round of edits and says, well, I've got something interesting for you. This document keeps causing Microsoft Word to crash whenever I cycle through the comments, every single time. I'm able to respond to your comments and track changes work just fine, but those comment buttons at the top always cause a crash. That would be the comment buttons that I don't have in either of these word processors. So in order to ensure I saw them all, I had to manually scroll through the document, which was the very thing I was complaining about in LibreOffice. But that's not all. He went on to say, there are some track changes and comments you missed. Try scrolling through manually. It's like it's not registering them all in the toolbar. Here's something else funky. On page 47, where Lucky lets loose a string of Gaelic profanity, I had made a track change and left a comment explaining why. You accepted the change, but the comment was left in and it's moved to page 43. No text is highlighted, but the comment is still off in the margin. I've never seen that before. So obviously, we've got some problems with OnlyOffice, which is a little surprising because on their website and in some of the reviews, they actually advertise their product as being more compatible with Microsoft Word than LibreOffice and some of the other Linux word processors. So it looks like I'm probably going to have to head back to LibreOffice. So it seems like OnlyOffice is out, and I'm going to have to make LibreOffice work for me. So that means I'm going to have to figure out how to navigate these comments. So that's going to be my next step. We're going to dig into that now. Why I didn't think to check inside the navigator for comment navigation, I cannot say. Make sure this is set to comments. Then you can simply use these buttons to navigate to the previous or next comment in the document. You can also expand the comments down here to see an ordered list, allowing you to jump to a specific one at will. I still think it would have been cleaner to have navigation buttons available in the ribbon, but this serves the purpose well enough. Once I got used to the comment navigation, I was able to make quick work of the edits Mr. Repasky suggested. Here, I'm working through a rewrite of this paragraph describing one of the antagonists in Tunneltown. As you may have noticed, I've left some comments undeleted just to see if they give Timothy any trouble on his end. Here you can see the X's through these two comments, which I've resolved and deleted. As I mentioned earlier in the video, they won't actually delete until I clicked Accept in the Track Changes portion of the ribbon. I'm still perplexed why the folks at LibreOffice would want this to be an extra step the user has to go through, but who am I to question why? I'll just click the button. So I've emailed this document back to Timothy for a final round of edits, and in no time flat he responds to let me know that he ran into no issues this time with the comments, Word did not crash, and that whatever I did seems to have solved the problem. Incidentally, the only thing I did was switch back to LibreOffice. Well, that was an interesting experiment, and it really didn't go the way I thought it would. I think we can break this down into three main categories: user interface, basic features, and compatibility. As far as the UI question goes, I think OnlyOffice takes first place hands down. The interface is uncluttered and everything's laid out in a very intuitive way. This definitely looks like what I've come to expect from a modern word processor, and by comparison, LibreOffice looks like something from 2003. In fact, looking at it and looking back at some screenshots of Microsoft Word 2003, the resemblance is uncanny. LibreOffice could definitely benefit from a UI overhaul. As far as basic features go, both Office suites pack in about anything you could want. I think LibreOffice has probably more features, but OnlyOffice, because the user interface is more organized and intuitive, you're more likely to use the features it has, whereas there's quite a learning curve with finding some of the features in LibreOffice. What's really disappointing, though, is that both of them lack an autosave feature, which is pretty standard for most productivity software suites. Scrivener has it, Manuscript has it, of course all the Microsoft Office products have it, and it's really odd going back to needing to remember to manually save a document every few minutes. I really don't understand why they don't include this as a basic feature. It feels really antiquated, needing to save manually. And I mean, after all, this is 2024, so they really need to step up the game, at least with some of those kind of quality of life features, I think. This one I would pretty much declare a tie. Unfortunately, for my purposes, compatibility with Microsoft Word is a make or break feature, and I was really surprised how this one turned out. I thought OnlyOffice was going to come out on top because they advertised this on their website as, this is how they're marketing OnlyOffice, is that it uses DocX by default. It's the most compatible with Microsoft Word, but that wasn't my experience at all. It caused problems for my editor, whereas LibreOffice seemed to work fine. It wasn't the best experience for me in terms of a user interface, but in terms of getting my document edited, LibreOffice, hands down, came out on top. So I'm not really sure why that is, particularly when OnlyOffice seems to have a focus on compatibility. But they definitely lost in this arena. And so LibreOffice is hands down the one I'm going to have to use. So wasn't expecting that. If you use a different word processor that you think I should try, or if you have tips for me on either of these two, please leave that information for me down in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and if you found this content useful or entertaining, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you.